Jeff Fillmore doesn't take a day off, and neither do I.
My dad said you can't play Roarball because you're too small.
Hey, I'm Will Harris. I'm a small in a world of bigs. What?
Oops, airball. Sorry about that.
Ever since I was little,
Let's go!
I wanted to play professional. One of the fiercest animals.
Just gonna play.
After all those years, I never lost the dream. But there's only one problem.
Welcome to Z Cineplex, say your ultimate entertainment destination. Welcome to Z Cineplex, the home of entertainment, creativity, and cinematic excitement. Our channel is dedicated to bringing viewers a rich collection of engaging content that celebrates the world of movies, storytelling, and visual entertainment. Whether you're a passionate film enthusiast, someone who enjoys discovering new cinematic experiences, or simply looking for high-quality entertainment, Z Cineplex is designed to be your go-to destination. We strive to create content that is informative, enjoyable, and engaging for audiences of all ages, offering a unique blend of movie-related features, entertainment updates, insightful discussions, creative videos, and much more. Every upload is crafted with attention to quality, ensuring that our viewers receive an enjoyable experience that keeps them coming back for more. At Z Cineplex, we believe that cinema is more than just watching films. It's about experiencing emotions, exploring stories, appreciating creativity, and connecting with people who share the same passion for entertainment. Our mission is to build a vibrant community where movie lovers and entertainment enthusiasts can discover exciting content, share their opinions, and stay connected with the latest trends in the entertainment industry. We are committed to consistently improving our content, embracing new ideas, and delivering videos that entertain, inform, and inspire our growing audience. Whether you're here for movie highlights, entertainment discussions, reviews, cinematic moments, or fresh creative content, Z Cineplex promises an enjoyable journey filled with excitement, quality, and unforgettable entertainment. Join our community by subscribing, turning on notifications, and becoming part of the Z Cineplex family as we continue to explore the fascinating world of cinema and entertainment together. Thank you for your support, and welcome to Z Cineplex, wherever video brings entertainment to life. GOAT, stylized in all caps, is a 2026 American animated sports comedy film produced by Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures Animation, Unanimous Media, and Modern Magic, and distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Directed by Tyree Dillihay, the film follows Will Harris, voiced by Caleb McLaughlin, a determined young anthropomorphic goat with dreams of becoming the greatest of all time in the fast-paced, high-contact sport of Roarball, a fictional game inspired by basketball. Despite his small stature and being underestimated by nearly everyone around him, Will earns an unexpected opportunity to compete in the professional Roarball League, where he must overcome powerful rivals, demanding training, and his own self-doubt while discovering that true greatness is defined by perseverance, teamwork, and heart rather than physical dominance alone. The voice cast includes Gabrielle Union, Aaron Pierre, Nicola Coughlan, David Harbour, Nick Kroll, Jennifer Lewis, Patton Oswalt, Jelly Roll, Wayne Knight, Adam Pally, Jennifer Hudson, Sherry Cola, Eduardo Franco, Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, and professional basketball superstar Stephen Curry, who also served as a producer through unanimous media in his feature film voice acting debut. Development on the project began in 2019 before it was officially announced in May 2024. With the principal voice cast revealed in June 2025, GOAT premiered in Los Angeles on February 6, 2026, before receiving a wide theatrical release in the United States on February 13, 2026. The film was praised by critics for its energetic animation, heartfelt coming-of-age story, humor, inspirational sports themes, voice performances, and vibrant world-building, while also drawing comparisons to classic underdog sports films. It was a commercial success, grossing approximately $195 million worldwide against its production budget and establishing itself as one of Sony Pictures Animation's notable theatrical releases of 2026. Set in a vibrant world inhabited entirely by anthropomorphic animals, GOAT follows the inspiring journey of Will Harris, a determined young GOAT who dreams of becoming the greatest rollerball player of all time. On his 6th birthday, Will watches his hero, legendary Black Panther athlete Jet Fillmore, lead the Vineland Thorns, the professional rollerball team representing his hometown. Inspired by Jet's skill and determination, Will vows to follow in her footsteps. Tragically, after the death of his beloved mother, Louise, who always encouraged him to chase his dreams, Will dedicates himself to mastering the fast-paced, basketball-inspired sport despite his small size and the widespread belief that GOATs are unsuited for such a physically demanding game. 10 years later, 16-year-old Will works long hours at a local diner while relentlessly practicing rollerball in hopes of earning a professional opportunity. Struggling financially, he falls behind on rent and is threatened with eviction by his landlord, Frank, a strict but opportunistic gerbil. Desperate for money, Will reluctantly sells his prized basketball sneakers before challenging main attraction, the arrogant Andalusian horse superstar of the Lava Coast Magma, to a high-stakes street rollerball wager. Although Will initially dazzles spectators with his incredible speed and agility, Maine ultimately defeats him through experience and overwhelming strength. Having lost everything, Will is evicted from his apartment and moves in with his loyal best friends, the easygoing capybara Daryl and the resourceful Ardwolf Hannah, who continue encouraging him not to abandon his lifelong dream. The following morning, a highlight video showing Will spectacularly breaking Maine's ankles during the match unexpectedly goes viral across social media, turning the unknown teenager into an overnight sensation. Searching desperately for a 6th player after the Vineland Thorns endure a disastrous winless season, team owner Florence Flo Everson, a greedy warthog more interested in profits than championships, signs Will to the roster as a publicity gamble. The decision infuriates veteran captain Jet Fillmore, who believes the inexperienced teenager has no place on a professional team and publicly humiliates him during his introductory press conference. Under the guidance of optimistic proboscis monkey head coach Dennis Cooper, Will meets the rest of the Thorns roster, including the powerful Indian rhinoceros Archie Everhart, towering giraffe Lenny Williamson, stoic Komodo dragon Modo Olakenko, and quick-footed ostrich Olivia Burke. Although initially relegated to the bench, Will finally receives his chance to play after Jet is forced out with a technical foul during a close game. Using his speed, creativity, and fearless attitude, Will scores the game-winning point, earning the Thorns their first victory of the season and gradually winning the respect of his skeptical teammates. As the season progresses, Will and Jet's relationship slowly evolves from bitter rivalry into genuine friendship. During the filming of a promotional campaign, Jet becomes frustrated with the team's struggles and storms off the set. Will follows her, bringing her back to the neighborhood diner where he once worked, allowing Jet to witness firsthand how deeply the people of Vineland admire and believe in her despite the team's failures. Will also shares the story of his late mother Louise and the sacrifices she made to help him pursue rollerball, reminding Jet why she first fell in love with the sport. Carol, the diner owner and a longtime supporter of the Thorns, emotionally asks Jet to finally bring the Claw of the League's championship trophy home to Vineland. Inspired by Will's sincerity, Jet publicly defends both her teammates and coach Dennis during a live stream with main attraction, fully embracing the team-first mentality she had long resisted. United for the first time, the Thorns begin an extraordinary turnaround, stringing together an impressive winning streak that propels them into the playoffs. On the eve of the semi-final game, Flo privately reveals to Jet that she has secretly agreed to sell the Thorns to the wealthy city of Sunken City after the season concludes, ensuring herself a substantial financial profit while abandoning Vineland and effectively ending the team's legacy regardless of whether they win the championship. Will accidentally overhears the conversation, but Jet convinces him to remain silent, fearing the revelation would destroy the team's focus. During the semi-final, however, the Thorns struggle to play cohesively, and Will ultimately tells his teammates the truth despite Jet's objections. The revelation devastates the team, while Jet responds by reverting to selfish play, attempting to win the game alone in hopes of preserving her legacy. Although the Thorns narrowly advance to the championship, the fractured team loses faith in its captain and walks away, leaving their championship hopes in jeopardy. Before the championship game, Jet confronts her fears and sincerely apologizes to Will, tearfully admitting that years of failure and the pressure of protecting her reputation had caused her to lose sight of what truly mattered. Encouraged by Will's forgiveness and unwavering optimism, Jet helps reunite the entire team, restoring the trust that had been broken. Together, the Thorns travel to Lava Coast to face their longtime rivals, the Magma, in the Rollerball League finals. The championship becomes an intense battle between teamwork and individual glory. During the game, Maine deliberately delivers a brutal hit that leaves Jet with a serious leg injury that appears capable of ending her career. Forced to leave the court on crutches, Jet receives a standing ovation from the crowd before courageously returning to the bench to continue supporting her teammates. Later, after Archie is ejected while defending Will from Maine's increasingly aggressive play, Coach Dennis unveils one final strategy. Choosing to trust her teammates rather than seeking personal glory, Jet re-enters the game as a decoy, drawing the Magma's entire defense before making the decisive pass to Will. With the championship on the line, Will confidently sinks the game-winning shot, securing the claw and delivering the Vineland Thorns their first league championship. In the aftermath, Maine's signature Maine is accidentally burned away during the celebration, while Flo's attempt to flee responsibility is hilariously interrupted as she is chased off the court by Archie's energetic twin daughters, Ada and Ari. Following their historic victory, the Thorns return home to a hero's welcome as the citizens of Vineland celebrate their long-awaited championship. In a final comedic twist, the quiet and seemingly emotionless Modo reveals that he unexpectedly won ownership of the Thorns during a game of Uno, allowing the franchise to remain in Vineland rather than relocating to Sunken City. With their future secured, Jet embraces her role as both champion and mentor, while Will fulfills the promise he made as a child, proving that true greatness is measured not by size, fame, or individual accolades, but by courage, perseverance, selflessness, and the ability to inspire others. The film features an ensemble voice cast led by Caleb McLaughlin as Will Harris, a determined teenage American pygmy goat whose lifelong dream is to become a professional rollerball player despite being considered too small to compete at the highest level. Driven by the memory of his late mother and inspired by his childhood hero, Will embarks on an underdog journey that transforms both himself and his hometown team. Luke Simity provides the voice of young Will during the film's opening flashbacks, depicting his childhood admiration for the Vineland Thorns and his first aspirations of becoming a rollerball legend. Gabrielle Union voices Jet Fillmore, a legendary Black Panther and the superstar captain of the Vineland Thorns. Revered throughout the Rollerball League as the face of the Thorns, Jet is one of the sport's greatest players but struggles under the weight of carrying her team's legacy through years of disappointment. Initially dismissive of Will's abilities, she gradually becomes his mentor and closest teammate, rediscovering her passion for the game through his optimism and determination. Aaron Pierre portrays main attraction, an exceptionally talented yet arrogant Andalusian horse who serves as the league's reigning most valuable player and the undisputed star of the Lava Coast Magma. Maine's overwhelming athleticism, fierce competitiveness, An obsession with proving his superiority make him Will's greatest rival throughout the story. The Vineland Thorns are rounded out by a colorful supporting roster. Nicola Coughlan voices Olivia Burke, an energetic ostrich known for her tendency to literally bury her head whenever stressful situations arise, although she remains one of the team's quickest and most dependable players. David Harbour portrays Archie Everhart, a powerful Indian rhinoceros who serves as the team's enforcer and emotional protector while balancing life as a devoted single father of energetic twin daughters Adi and Tyree. For the Malaysian theatrical release, Archie is dubbed by Malaysian actors Al Arif and Stephen Curry, making his feature film voice acting debut while also serving as one of the film's producers. Voices Lenny Williamson, the Thorns' towering giraffe player whose laid-back personality, optimistic attitude, and ambitions of becoming a successful rapper provide much of the team's humor. Nick Kroll voices Modo Alakenko, a stoic Komodo dragon covered in numerous piercings whose quiet demeanor conceals a surprisingly eccentric personality and unwavering loyalty to his teammates. Patton Oswalt voices Dennis Cooper, the optimistic proboscis monkey head coach of the Thorns, whose unconventional coaching philosophy emphasizes teamwork, perseverance, and trust over individual talent. Jennifer Lewis portrays Florence Flo Everson, the greedy and manipulative warthog owner of the Vineland Thorns whose willingness to sacrifice her hometown franchise for personal financial gain serves as one of the film's central conflicts. Will's personal life is represented by a heartfelt supporting cast led by Jennifer Hudson as Louise Harris, Will's loving late mother and former waitress at Whiskers Diner whose encouragement continues to inspire her son long after her passing. Sherry Cola voices Hannah, a clever and supportive Ardwolf who is one of Will's closest friends and steadfast supporters. Eduardo Franco portrays Daryl, a cheerful capybara who shares an apartment with Hannah and welcomes Will into their home after his eviction. Wayne Knight voices Frank, a persistent but ultimately compassionate gerbil who serves as Will's landlord, while Ryan Kahn voices Theo, one of Frank's sons and a close friend of Will. Aisha Curry voices Carol, the warm-hearted llama owner of Whiskers Diner, where Louise once worked, who continues to encourage Will and the Thorns throughout their championship journey. Adam Pally portrays Gerald, a cynical nine-banded armadillo and longtime diner customer who had abandoned hope in the Thorns until Will's arrival reignites his faith in the team. The film also features several sports media personalities and comic supporting characters. Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee voice Chuck and Rusty, an entertaining commentary duo consisting of a muskox and an Egyptian fruit bat whose colorful play-by-play coverage follows the Rorqual League throughout the season. Jelly Roll voices Grizz, a physically imposing grizzly bear roarball player who initially bullies Will by claiming ownership of the neighborhood cage, the local outdoor court where aspiring players compete. Joe La Puma voices Sneaky, a white-headed vulture who owns a sneaker shop where Will unsuccessfully attempts to pawn his prized shoes early in the film. Several real-life athletes and broadcasters make cameo voice appearances as members of the fictional Roarball League and sports media. Angel Reese voices the polar bear teammates Pop and Dawson, both players for the Shivers. Aja Wilson voices Coyote, an American alligator and standout player for the Shadows. Kevin Love portrays Daskas, a gorilla player for the Shadows, while Dwayne Wade voices Rosette, a powerful bull teammate on the same roster. Veteran NBA player Andre Iguodala voices Iggy, a Plains zebra referee responsible for officiating league games. Sports broadcaster Aaron Andrews appears as a game announcer, while legendary NBA play-by-play commentator Mike Breen voices a Vineland Cheetah sports reporter covering the Thorns' remarkable championship run. Van Van voices Adja and Tyree, Archie's spirited twin daughters, whose playful antics provide comic relief throughout the film and culminate in them hilariously chasing Flo off the championship court following the Thorns' victory. Together, the ensemble combines established Hollywood actors, comedians, musicians, professional athletes, and sports broadcasters to create a lively cast of memorable characters that bring the world of GOAT and its fictional sport of Roarball to life. Development on GOAT began as early as 2019, when Sony Pictures Animation started exploring the concept of an original animated sports comedy centered on an underdog story set in a world populated entirely by anthropomorphic animals. The project remained in active development for several years as the studio refined its story, characters, and the fictional sport of rollerball, which combines the intensity, athleticism, and spectacle of basketball with a stylized fantasy setting. In May 2024, Sony Pictures Animation officially announced the film, revealing that Tyree would make his feature directorial debut as the film's director, with Rosette serving as co-director. The production was a collaboration between Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures Animation, Unanimous Media, and Modern Magic, with financing support from Macro, reflecting the studio's shared commitment to developing an original, character-driven animated feature rather than an adaptation of existing intellectual property. The film was produced by Stephen Curry and Eric Payton through their production company, Unanimous Media, alongside Michelle Ramo-Coyote for Sony Pictures Animation and Adam Rosenberg and Rodney Rothman for Modern Magic. Curry's involvement was particularly significant, as the project marked one of the flagship animated productions from Unanimous Media and reflected his long-standing interest in creating inspirational sports stories that celebrate perseverance, teamwork, and overcoming adversity. Veteran producers Rick Mitchell and Fonda Snyder served as executive producers, while David Schulenberg joined the production as co-producer, helping oversee the film throughout its multi-year development and production process. The screenplay was written by Aaron Buxbaum and Teddy Riley, who received final screenplay credit after shaping the film's blend of sports action, comedy, and emotional coming-of-age storytelling. The story was developed by Nicholas Curcio and Peter Chiarelli, whose original concept established the fictional Rollerball League, the city of Vineland, and the underdog journey of Will Harris, a teenage American pygmy goat determined to become a professional athlete despite his physical disadvantages. Throughout production, the filmmakers worked closely with Stephen Curry to ensure that the film's depiction of competition, teamwork, and basketball-inspired gameplay felt authentic while remaining accessible to audiences of all ages. The resulting sport of rollerball was designed as a stylized, high-energy evolution of basketball featuring exaggerated athleticism, larger-than-life arenas, and dynamic animation tailored specifically for the film's anthropomorphic world. Casting announcements began during the Annecy International Animation Film Festival in June 2025, where Sony Pictures Animation unveiled the film's principal voice caster and debuted an early look at the project. The initial announcement confirmed that Caleb McLaughlin would lead the film as Will Harris, with Gabrielle Union portraying legendary Thorns Captain Jet Fillmore, Stephen Curry making his feature film voice acting debut as Lenny Williamson while also serving as producer, Nick Kroll as Modo Olakenko, Nicola Coughlan as Olivia Burke, David Harbour as Archie Everhart, Jennifer Lewis as Florence Flo Everson, and Patton Oswalt as Coach Dennis Cooper. The casting reflected Sony Pictures Animation's strategy of combining acclaimed actors, comedians, and athletes to create a broad ensemble capable of balancing comedy, emotional storytelling, and sports drama. The ensemble expanded significantly the following month when Sony announced additional cast members, including Jennifer Hudson as Will's late mother Louise Harris, whose emotional influence drives much of the film's story. Aaron Pierre as the film's primary antagonist, main attraction, the reigning Rollerball League MVP and superstar of the Lava Coast Magma and Grammy Award-winning musician Jelly Roll as Grizz, a formidable grizzly bear player. Additional casting included Aisha Curry as Carol, the compassionate owner of Whiskers Diner, comedians Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee as sports commentators Chuck and Rusty Sherry-Cola as Hannah, one of Will's closest friends, and Eduardo Franco as Daryl, Will's loyal capybara roommate. The production also featured numerous cameo performances by professional athletes and sports broadcasters, reinforcing the film's celebration of basketball culture while giving the fictional world of rollerball an authentic sports atmosphere. By the completion of casting, GOAT had assembled one of Sony Pictures Animation's most diverse voice ensembles, blending award-winning actors, musicians, comedians, NBA stars, and television personalities to bring its original sports universe to life. The animation for GOAT was produced by Sony Pictures Imageworks in collaboration with Sony Pictures Animation, continuing the studio's tradition of pushing the boundaries of stylized computer animation. Building upon the innovative visual techniques pioneered in Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse and further refined in Pop Demon Hunters, the filmmakers developed an entirely new artistic language specifically for GOAT, combining handcrafted graphic design principles with cutting-edge CG animation. Rather than pursuing photorealism, the creative team embraced a bold, highly expressive aesthetic inspired by street art, graffiti murals, urban illustration, comic books, and contemporary sports branding. The result is a vibrant visual identity that emphasizes exaggerated motion, striking silhouettes, dynamic typography, and painterly textures, allowing every rortball match to feel energetic, emotionally charged, and visually distinctive while reflecting the youthful spirit of the film's underdog story. One of the production's defining artistic goals was to make every frame resemble a piece of modern sports artwork. The animation incorporates stylized impact frames, graphic overlays, speed lines, halftone textures, bold color blocking, and hand-painted brush effects to heighten the intensity of the rortball sequences. During key moments of gameplay, the animation frequently shifts into highly graphic compositions inspired by collectible sports trading cards, comic panels, and editorial sports photography, freezing characters in dramatic poses before bursting back into fluid motion. These techniques were used to communicate the speed, power, and physicality of rortball while also giving each player's signature moves a unique visual identity. By blending traditional animation principles with contemporary graphic design, the filmmakers created an action style that feels simultaneously cinematic, illustrative, and unmistakably modern. The visual development team also placed significant emphasis on environmental storytelling. Every city in the Rortball League was designed with its own architectural style, color language, and cultural identity to reinforce the personalities of the teams that represent them. Vineland, home of the Thorns, features warm colors, community-focused neighborhoods, colorful murals, local diners, and tree-lined streets that reflect the city's hard-working and close-knit atmosphere. In contrast, Lava Coast is portrayed with dramatic volcanic landscapes, industrial architecture, glowing orange lighting, and bold geometric forms that mirror the aggressive, high-powered image of the Magma franchise. Throughout the film, graffiti artwork, murals, painted signage, and layered textures help create locations that feel lived in while reinforcing the film's themes of community pride and urban culture. The fictional Rortball League received an equally detailed visual treatment. Every professional team was given a unique brand identity, complete with original logos, typography, uniforms, merchandise, and arena graphics. The league's team logos were designed by graphic designer Emily Morgan, who reportedly spent more than 500 hours developing the league's visual branding. Her creative process involved producing approximately 600 preliminary logo concepts before refining each design through 7 distinct color palette explorations, ensuring that every franchise possessed an instantly recognizable identity while remaining visually cohesive within the shared world of the film. The resulting logos combine modern sports branding with graffiti-inspired iconography, contributing significantly to the authenticity of the fictional league. Costume design was led by Dominique Dawson, who approached each character's wardrobe by carefully considering the anatomy, movement, and personality of the different animal species. Rather than simply adapting human athletic uniforms, Dawson designed apparel that naturally accommodated each animal's physical characteristics, including horns, tails, wings, scales, elongated necks, and varying body proportions. Uniform silhouettes, accessories, footwear, protective gear, and color schemes were all tailored to reflect not only each character's individual personality but also the competitive identity and culture of their respective Rortball teams. This attention to anatomical accuracy and character-driven design helped ensure that every player remained visually distinctive both on and off the court. Production designer Zhang Li oversaw the film's overall visual direction, Drawing inspiration from a wide range of cinematic and artistic influences, Lee cited Do the Right Thing, City of God, and The Jungle Book among the project's primary creative references. From Do the Right Thing, the team borrowed its vibrant urban color palettes, neighborhood atmosphere, and expressive environmental storytelling. City of God inspired the film's dynamic camera movement, energetic visual rhythm, and sense of lived-in community, while The Jungle Book informed the integration of animal characters into richly imagined environments without sacrificing their distinct species-specific characteristics. These influences were blended with contemporary sports photography, streetwear fashion, graffiti culture, editorial illustration, and modern graphic design to establish a visual identity that feels both grounded and imaginative. Together, these artistic choices resulted in one of Sony Pictures Animation's most ambitious original visual styles. By merging expressive character animation, graffiti-inspired graphic design, stylized sports cinematography, and richly detailed world-building, GOAT created a distinctive look that celebrates athletic competition, urban culture, and community spirit while further advancing the studio's reputation for innovative animated filmmaking. The musical score for GOAT was composed by Chris Bowers, whose orchestral and contemporary approach plays a central role in shaping the film's emotional and athletic energy. Drawing inspiration from the film's themes of perseverance, teamwork, self-discovery, and community, Bowers crafted a dynamic score that blends sweeping orchestral arrangements with modern hip-hop, R&B, funk, electronic, and percussion-driven elements. The music underscores both the intimate character moments and the high-octane roarball sequences, using recurring musical motifs to reflect Will Harris's personal growth from an overlooked teenager and to championship-caliber athlete. Throughout the film, the score evolves alongside Will's journey, balancing heartfelt emotional passages centered on family, friendship, and determination with exhilarating action cues that heighten the speed, intensity, and spectacle of the fictional sport. Bowers also incorporated rhythmic instrumentation and energetic percussion inspired by contemporary sports culture, giving the roarball matches a distinctive musical identity while complementing the film's graffiti-inspired visual style and fast-paced animation. Complementing Bowers' original score, GOAT features an original soundtrack showcasing a variety of contemporary artists whose songs blend hip-hop, rap, R&B, pop, and motivational anthems to capture the youthful spirit and urban energy of the film. The soundtrack was released by Mercury Records on February 13, 2026, coinciding with the film's theatrical release, and includes music heard throughout key training montages, celebratory moments, and roarball games, as well as songs inspired by the film's themes of ambition, resilience, and believing in oneself. On the same day, Sony Classical released GOAT, Original Motion Picture Score, featuring Chris Bowers' complete instrumental score. The score album highlights the composer's thematic writing, orchestral action pieces, emotional character themes, and climactic championship music, allowing listeners to experience the film's musical storytelling independently of the feature. Together, the soundtrack and original score complement one another by combining contemporary popular music with cinematic orchestral composition, reinforcing GOAT's uplifting tone and enhancing its blend of sports excitement, heartfelt drama, and energetic comedy. Theatrical release GOAT had its world premiere in Los Angeles, California, on February 6, 2026, where the film debuted at a red carpet gala attended by the filmmakers, voice cast, producers, industry executives, and invited members of the press. The premiere served as the official launch of Sony Pictures Animation's latest original feature, with director Tyree, Dillihay, producer and voice actor Stephen Curry, and members of the ensemble cast celebrating the film's debut alongside special presentations highlighting its innovative animation, sports-inspired storytelling, and original world of roarball. The event also marked the beginning of the film's international promotional campaign, with early reactions from critics and audiences praising its vibrant animation, energetic sports action, emotional storytelling, and ensemble voice performances. Following its premiere, GOAT received a nationwide early access screening on February 7, 2026, giving audiences across the United States the opportunity to watch the film 1 week before its official theatrical release. The advanced screenings were held in select theaters and included exclusive promotional content celebrating the collaboration between Sony Pictures Animation and Unanimous Media, as well as the film's connection to professional basketball through producer and voice actor Stephen Curry. The early screenings generated positive word of mouth among families, animation enthusiasts, and basketball fans, helping build anticipation ahead of the film's wide release. GOAT was released theatrically in the United States on February 13, 2026, by Sony Pictures, releasing in standard digital formats as well as RAW 3D, Dolby Cinema, IMAX, 4DX, ScreenX, and other premium large-format presentations, allowing audiences to experience the film's stylized animation and fast-paced rollerball action on the biggest screens available. The release strategically coincided with NBA All-Star Weekend 2026, including the 2026 NBA All-Star Game, which was held in Los Angeles that same weekend. Sony intentionally aligned the film's opening with one of basketball's biggest annual celebrations, capitalizing on the sport's global popularity and the involvement of NBA superstar Stephen Curry as both producer and voice actor. Throughout All-Star Weekend, the film benefited from cross-promotional marketing campaigns, special television spots, exclusive NBA-themed promotional events, and appearances by Curry and members of the creative team, further strengthening the connection between the fictional sport of rollerball and real-world basketball culture. The timing of the release proved to be an effective marketing strategy, positioning GOAT as a major family film during the President's Day holiday frame while simultaneously appealing to sports fans attending or watching NBA All-Star festivities. The combination of strong advance buys, positive critical reception, and extensive promotional partnerships helped establish GOAT as one of Sony Pictures Animation's flagship theatrical releases of 2026, attracting audiences ranging from families and animation enthusiasts to basketball fans and general moviegoers during its successful theatrical run. Home media. Following its successful theatrical run, GOAT was released on premium video on demand, VOD, and other major digital platforms on March 24, 2026, by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment, allowing audiences to purchase or rent the film from a wide range of digital retailers. The digital release was made available in 4K Ultra HD, HD, and SD formats through popular services, giving viewers the opportunity to experience the film at home with high-quality picture and sound. In addition to the feature film, the digital edition included a selection of bonus content, such as deleted and extended scenes, behind-the-scenes featurettes, filmmaker and cast interviews, animation breakdowns, and an in-depth look at the creation of the fictional sport of rollerball, offering fans greater insight into the film's production, character development, and distinctive visual style. The film was subsequently released on Ultra HD Blu-ray, and DVD on May 5, 2026, again through Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. The physical editions featured high-definition presentations of the film, with the 4K Ultra HD release showcasing enhanced picture quality through HDR, high dynamic range, and Dolby Vision, alongside immersive Dolby Atmos audio where supported. The Blu-ray and Ultra HD editions also included an extensive collection of special features, including audio commentary from director Tyree Dillihay and members of the creative team, a comprehensive making-of documentary chronicling the film's multi-year development, featurettes exploring the evolution of the graffiti-inspired animation style, character and costume design, world-building, the creation of the Rollerball League, and the recording sessions with the ensemble voice cast. Additional bonus materials highlighted the contributions of producer and voice actor Stephen Curry, composer Chris Bowers, and the animation artists at Sony Pictures Imageworks, along with galleries of early concept art, storyboard sequences, promotional artwork, and theatrical trailers. The home media release allowed audiences to revisit the film's visually dynamic animation and energetic sports action while providing an extensive look behind the scenes at the creative process that brought GOAT to life. GOAT grossed $103 million in the United States and Canada and $92 million in international markets, bringing its worldwide box office total to $195 million. Released in the United States and Canada alongside Wuthering Heights, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, and Crime 101, the film was initially projected to earn between $20 million and $25 million from approximately 3,700 theaters during its 4-day opening weekend. On its opening day, the film earned $7.1 million, exceeding early expectations as positive word-of-mouth and strong family attendance boosted its performance throughout the weekend. It ultimately debuted with $35 million domestically, finishing in second place behind Wuthering Heights. Despite not opening at number 1, the film achieved the largest opening weekend for an original animated film since Elemental, 2023, marking a significant milestone for original animation at the box office. In its second weekend, GOAT demonstrated strong audience retention, earning $17.2 million, a moderate decline from its opening weekend, and climbed to first place at the domestic box office, overtaking Wuthering Heights. The film continued to perform steadily in its third weekend, grossing $12 million and finishing second, behind the debut of Scream 7. Thanks to its consistent week-to-week holds, favorable audience reception, and sustained family attendance throughout its theatrical run, GOAT proved to be one of the stronger performing original animated releases of the year, ultimately reaching $195 million worldwide, with $103 million from domestic markets and $92 million from international territories. On the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, GOAT holds an approval rating of 83% based on 90 critic reviews, with an average rating of 6.4. The site's critical consensus states, sporting a terrific voice cast, nifty animation, and a solid moral for youngsters, GOAT plays a familiar game with enough style and finesse to come close to the greats. On Metacritic, which assigns a weighted average score, the film received a 60 out of 100 based on 16 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Despite the more divided critical reception, audiences responded considerably more enthusiastically, with moviegoers surveyed by CinemaScore awarding the film a rare A grade on an A+ to F scale, reflecting highly positive audience satisfaction and strong word-of-mouth following its theatrical release. Critics were nearly unanimous in praising GOAT's ambitious visual presentation, energetic animation, and expressive voice performances, while opinions were more divided regarding its screenplay and narrative originality. Mark Kennedy of the Associated Press commended the film's striking visual style but criticized its screenplay as lazy, thin, and burdened by an overly familiar redemption storyline. Brando New of the New York Times similarly acknowledged that the story offered few surprises and relied on straightforward emotional themes, though he praised its richly textured artwork and dynamic animation for elevating the material. Writing for IGN, Eric Goldman was considerably more enthusiastic, highlighting the animation as the film's greatest achievement and praising its imaginative use of anthropomorphic animal characters, arguing that the filmmakers fully embraced the unique possibilities of the premise. Several reviewers offered more polarized assessments. John Nugent of Empire awarded the film 2 out of 5 stars, describing it as a rare disappointment from Sony Pictures Animation despite its attractive visuals, while suggesting audiences revisit Pop Demon Hunters instead. In contrast, Owen Gleiberman of Variety hailed GOAT as a vibrant surprise, applauding its originality, energetic sports narrative, hip-hop-inspired aesthetic, and inventive world-building, calling it one of the year's more distinctive animated releases. Kath Clark of The Guardian was among the film's harshest critics, characterizing it as loud, chaotic, emotionally hollow, and resembling ice slop, arguing that its conventional underdog story ultimately lacked genuine heart and personality. Conversely, Nell Minogue of RogerRabbit.com acknowledged the generic nature of the film's characters and familiar sports narrative but praised its vibrant visual design and immersive fantasy world, describing its imaginative environments as significantly stronger than its storytelling. Other critics similarly balanced praise for the film's craftsmanship with reservations about its screenplay. Frank Sheck of The Hollywood Reporter concluded that GOAT was better looking than it is written, applauding its wildly imaginative visuals, energetic voice cast, and ambitious animation while noting its predictable plot structure and relentless pacing. William Bibbiani of The Wrap offered a more favorable assessment, describing the film as visually stimulating, emotionally engaging, and a genuinely well-told family adventure that successfully combines wholesome entertainment with subtly progressive themes. Pete Hammond of Deadline Hollywood was among the film's strongest supporters, calling GOAT an imaginative and game-changing winner. He praised its visually stunning animation, witty and heartfelt screenplay, energetic direction, and fresh reinterpretation of the sports film formula, arguing that the film successfully expands the creative possibilities of contemporary animated storytelling. Overall, critics widely agreed that while GOAT relies on a conventional underdog narrative, its inventive animation, vibrant world-building, expressive voice performances, and stylistic confidence distinguish it from many comparable family films, resulting in generally positive reviews from critics and an even stronger reception from audiences. Review 1. To the great credit of director Tyree Dillihay's GOAT, the film opens with a dynamic that I've never seen portrayed before in any film. Set a decade before the main narrative, the prologue sees its protagonist as a young kid upon most definitely intended a brought to an arena where his idol is getting set to play, the female star Jet Fillmore, voiced by Gabrielle Union. In our world, professional sports are bifurcated based on gender, and cinema traditionally maintains that split in reflecting fanhood, but that depicted segregation doesn't really match reality, and the fact that the new animated movie shows that upfront is unique and instantly refreshing. Release date, February 13, 2026. Directed by Tyree. Dillihay. Written by Aaron Buxbaum, Teddy Riley. Screenplay, and Nicholas Curacchio and Peter Chiarelli. Screen story, starring Caleb McLaughlin, Gabrielle Union, Aaron Pierre, Nicola Coughlan, David Harbour, Nick Kroll, Jennifer Lewis, and Patton Oswalt. Rating, PG for some rude humor and brief mild language. Runtime, 100 minutes. What's unfortunate is that energy proves to be extremely temporary. GOAT begins by upending gender norms and introducing a world where animals compete in a wild sport called rollerball, a broken bar, but that sport ends up basically being basketball played on wild terrains, and the story doesn't really aspire to much more than being a classic underdog tale. Though I suppose I should note that there aren't any dogs. The animation is splashy in both style and design, and there's enough humor and action to satisfy audiences of all ages. But it's a film that's hard to really love because so much of it is too familiar. It's a narrative every fan of sports movies has seen. The details are different, but the core elements are all there. Will Harris, Caleb McLaughlin, is a young GOAT who is a skilled athlete, dreams of playing professional rollerball, but his dreams are always dismissed because he is one of society's small animals and can't compete with the larger species. His aspirations also don't pay his rent, and things go from bad to worse when he loses all of his money he has betting on himself in a one-on-one street game with visiting rollerball superstar main attraction, Aaron Pierre. Will loses, but he does manage to score a couple points, and when video of his performance goes viral, it gets the attention of Florence Flo Everson, Jennifer Lewis, the owner of the local Vineland Thorns. Flo, looking to sell the team, is regularly criticized by Jet Fillmore, considered to be the best player in the league, for not giving her enough support on the court, and Will is signed as a publicity stunt in response. While Jet battles her own ego while still trying to lead her team to championship, Will does what he can to earn the respect of his idol and prove that he belongs. As a sports movie, GOAT is way too familiar. If that reads like an amalgamation of a dozen sports movies you've seen over the last 40+ years with a splash of Zootopia energy, you understand pretty much everything that GOAT has to offer without even seeing a single frame, and you can probably make several accurate guesses about the various narrative developments in the second and third acts. Obviously younger audiences, aka the biggest targeted demographic with the movie, won't recognize all of the cinematic echoes that the film is harnessing for its story, but parents, guardians, and the plenty of adult fans of animation won't find much to latch onto or appreciate beyond aesthetics. You may like there are open doors to try something new, but opportunities whiz by. The most obvious of these is the creation of Rollerball. I get that the movie specifically wants to attract basketball fans. Steph Curry is part of the cast and a producer, and there are a number of voice cameos from other NBA stars. But it's a bummer that the filmmakers didn't consider going the extra mile creatively in creating the original game beyond the aforementioned mild terrains. The supporting cast is another arena that could offer something new, but the movie is weirdly firm on doling out only one character trait each for everyone, with Will's teammates on the thorns including stressed rhino dad Archie, David Harbour, the confidence-lacking ostrich Olivia, Nicola Coughlan, a rap-loving giraffe Lenny, Curry, and the wild and weird Komodo dragon Modo, Nick Grohl. GOAT does have something positive to say, albeit entirely explored via clichés. To the film's credit, these characters are used effectively in sharing what is a collection of positive messages. GOAT stresses the value of teamwork, the wonderful award of pursuing your passions, and the power of not letting others define your limitations. These morals are clear and well established throughout the story, a broken bar, but the sheer number of tropes that carry them through do have an impact on the emotion in the delivery. You respect the movie for what it has to say without ever really feeling swept away by it, and it keeps it locked in good, not great territory. The animation style provides the energy that the story lacks. Clichés slow the movie down, but Tyree, making his feature directorial debut after spending most of his career in television, keeps the work amped up with energy via bold style. The world isn't as rich in detail as what audiences find in the Zootopia films. It can be noted that the release date proximity to Zootopia 2 doesn't do GOAT a ton of favors, but there is a fun exploration of a society with animals that come in all shapes and sizes. And while Rollerball is far from a unique sport, game sequences are bold and exciting, from the ankle-breaking action of one-on-one street ball to characters getting posterized in the Pro League. In a modern pop culture landscape that offers a lot of animated films with impressive complexity and deep emotion, GOAT is best approached with mild expectations. It's not a movie that does anything badly, but it's also not a movie that strives to do anything particularly exceptional. The acronym pun that is the title is ironic in that sense, as it's not a work that seems to strive to really be the greatest of all time, but it's a satisfying enough diversion that should get plenty of love from its young, core audience. To Tyree Dillahay's GOAT is an absolute blast. Sony's trademark animation brings this incredibly fun, hilarious, and pulse-pounding sports adventure to life with infectious energy. This Rollerball tale is the GOAT. After the success of the Spider-Verse and K-pop Demon Hunters, Sony Pictures Animation has reset the bar for animated movies. From the casting to the breathtaking signature animation, every project under the studio's banner has a level of quality hard to emulate. So when it turns its attention to the sports arena, we should sit up and take notice. Enter Tyree Dillihay. The visionary director cut his teeth in the animated arena with projects like Good Times and Bob's Burgers, but for Sony's newest epic, Dillihay is making the leap to the big screen. The collaboration between the director and the studio has delivered GOAT, an epic animated spectacle set in the animal kingdom. The film is a basketball adventure that takes the concept established in Disney's Bedknobs and Broomsticks and straps a rocket to its back. It pits the biggest and fiercest creatures on the planet and throws them into the professional Rollerball arena, where only the best survive. So imagine throwing in a small goat with a big heart. But is the film worthy of Sony's signature brilliance? Or is this the studio's first animated misfire? Review fear not, dear readers, because Tyree Dillahay's GOAT is an absolute blast. Sony's trademark animation brings this incredibly fun, hilarious, and pulse-pounding sports adventure to life with infectious energy. This is a crowd-pleaser with an animated pulse. With its incredible visual spectacle and genuinely poignant moments that highlight family bonds, this Rollerball basketball tale is the GOAT. This is a film that will have kids and adults cheering with joy and fist-pumping, the era-perfect family entertainment for the half-term break. Rollerball formula. Before we explore the film's brilliance, let's talk about the only major flaw I see in it: the formula. Every underdog story features a tried and tested checklist to make the film work. We've seen it time and time again in Rocky, Creed, and even Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, and it is used to full effect here again. It's hard to praise a film for its brilliance and spectacle without being critical of its formula. But in this day and age of reboots, prequels, and reimaginings, it's hard to avoid the formula. Sadly, GOAT is completely unoriginal. It deliberately checks all the boxes needed to make it work, but what it lacks in originality, it compensates for with how it uses the familiar formula to create magic. However, its target audience probably won't mind its predictable storyline. During my screening, kids of all ages waved their foam fingers with joy as popcorn flew into the air with every point scored on the court. So, don't expect it to lose points for originality with this crowd getting goated. Once you get past the generic storyline, the film quickly proves itself as an animated spectacle of sheer brilliance. Dillihay gets right to work, introducing the characters who will carry the story forward, starting with Will Harris, voiced by Stranger Things' Caleb McLaughlin. The tiny boy goat's mind is blown when his mother takes him to his first rollerball game. After watching the current MVP, an all-star Black Panther named Jet Fillmore, destroy her opponents, Will declares that he will grow up to follow in Jet's footsteps and become the best rollerball player ever. His mother encourages this dream and dares him to dream big. Fast forward several years, and Will's dream has yet to be realized. His mother has passed away, and he is living in a tiny apartment, working as a fast food delivery boy. But when one of rollerball's brightest stars comes to town and dominates the local rollerball court, Will rushes to face him and sets the stage for what will be a roller coaster ride of sports brilliance. Rollerball 101. The film quickly spreads a positive message, urging kids to never give up on their dreams and reach for the stars. Again, it's all part of the formula, but in this day and age, kids need all the help and encouragement they can get. Thankfully, GOAT will deliver that in spades. After answering the current MVP's challenge, Will's heroics go viral, prompting the owner of his favorite professional team to offer him a contract, and he accepts without hesitation. But as always, there are ulterior motives at play that stack the deck against him. His first challenge is earning the respect of his hero, Jet Fillmore, voiced by Gabrielle Union. Although she still commands respect for her position, Jet's career hasn't given her what she desires most: a championship winning medal. This obsession has turned her into something of a control freak, and she sees Will's appointment as a silly publicity stunt. So, with her career faltering, the team lacking confidence, and an owner with shady motives, Will is thrown into the deep end where he fights to achieve his dreams. Team spirit. From here, the story shifts into a character study of Jet and her teammates. Will, as always, brings youth, fresh ideas, eagerness, and constant optimism to the team, leading to some genuinely hilarious moments. However, with Jet reluctant to relinquish control and her other teammates deferring to her authority and game tactics, Will's challenge is an uphill battle. Luckily, his teammates are just as colorful as they are funny. We have Stephen Curry playing Lenny Williamson, a giraffe, Nicola Coughlan as Olivia Burke, an ostrich, Nick Kroll as Modo Olakenko, a Komodo dragon, and finally, David Harbour as Archie Everhart, an Indian rhinoceros. Each team member gets their moment to shine and faces their own internal struggle to overcome. This adds much needed depth to the characters and raises the emotional stakes, enhancing the impact of the underdog story. But the main focal point is the relationships between Jet and Will. Will's energy is infectious, and his mission is to remind her of why she started playing in the first place and how to rely on her teammates to achieve her dreams. Again, it's a positive message that will resonate with kids of all ages, promoting teamwork, friendship, and self-confidence. But set against the backdrop of some incredible rollerball action brought to life by some of the best animation you'll see all year. Nothing but net. What comes across most is Aaron Buxbaum and Teddy Riley's sharp screenplay, which constantly raises the stakes while reminding us of the absurdity of animals becoming sports stars. The writers never lose sight of the characters and use them to full effect, creating magical and hilarious moments. Jet, being a cat, finds her outbursts tempered by being sprayed with water and drinks her water from a cat bowl. Olivia, being an ostrich, constantly buries her head in the sand when the going gets tough, and David Harbour's rhinoceros, Archie, just wants to be a good father. Even music star Jelly Roll appears as a grizzly bear, making the film even more fun. But the most effective parody comes from Will. During his moments of triumph, Will bleats like a goat, which creates hilarious, rib-tickling moments. It becomes a relevant joke in the film and delivers hilarity every time. Kids will get a kick out of this parody, especially from Jet, but every character gets in on the action, and their antics will have everyone laughing all the way home. Animation, however, the true highlight of the show is the stunning animation, which has become a hallmark of Sony Animation's work. Like the Spider-Verse movies and K-pop Demon Hunters, GOAT features its own distinctive animation style that sets it apart from the competition. Again, the film pops with its breathtaking comic book come-to-life design and gloriously colorful landscapes. While it shares the style and tone of its predecessors, GOAT energizes the Roarball Arena with new vibrancy. The arenas are beautifully designed and rank among the most creative basketball courts ever imagined. Once again, the producers draw inspiration from the animal kingdom for the arenas, making the results even more inventive. The sound design is on another level, and the soundtrack by Chris Bowers perfectly accentuates the action on screen. Throw in a few well-placed needle drops, and the finished result is a fun roller coaster ride that ticks every box of a classic family film. This is Rocky for kids, and it works on every level. Verdict: overall, GOAT is an absolute blast. The film transcends its formulaic structure to deliver a fresh, energetic underdog story that will have kids roaring with delight as it reaches its inevitable conclusion. With its fresh energy, fantastic voice cast, vibrant palette, stunning animation, and wholly fresh design, the film is a rare gem that will score a slam dunk with families everywhere. The screenplay is sharp and witty, the emotional beats hit home, and the animal-themed comedy is utterly hilarious. Whether Tyree Dillihay set his stall out to redefine the animated genre remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, with Sony Animation's trademark animation sandbox at his fingertips, the director has crafted an exceptional film that defies its formula to bring audiences something incredibly fresh. So, book yourself some courtside seats for the best animated film of the year so far. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you'll fist pump the air when Will bleats his way to the top, because this roarball tale is the GOAT. GOAT slam dunks its way into cinemas on February 13th from Sony Pictures. A delight from start to finish. GOAT is one of the best animated films and one of the better sports films of any variety in recent memory. About the film with endless sports commentary and debate about the GOAT, greatest of all time, it was only a matter of time before someone in Hollywood dared to ask, what if the GOAT was a goat? The result of that epiphany is GOAT, a charming mashup of Zootopia, Space Jam, and Rudy. The film doesn't offer many surprises in its conventional underdog story, but it executes its game plan to perfection. A delight from start to finish. GOAT is one of the best animated films and one of the better sports films of any variety in recent memory. The story will be familiar to anyone who has ever watched a sports movie, but it has the fun twist of being set within an immersive and energetic Zootopia-esque world of anthropomorphic animals. Willie, voiced by Caleb McLaughlin, is a diehard fan of Roarball, an animal version of basketball. Unfortunately, he's an undersized goat, and only the so-called bigs like rhinos and gorillas ever make the league. When an opportunity arises to play for his beloved home team, he must prove the doubters wrong and show he has the skills and heart to compete. Again, GOAT doesn't rewrite the playbook, but when has familiarity ever stopped kids from enjoying a movie? The animation is superb. Following in the footsteps of the Spider-Verse movies, arguably the gold standard for vibrant animation, every scene is a visual treat. The stylized animation uses a hand-painted aesthetic that is both gorgeous and immersive. GOAT is also hilarious. There are occasional potty jokes that will make adults groan and kids chuckle, but most of the humor is clever and well-earned. In recent years, there has been a growing sentiment that animation is for everyone, and GOAT is a prime example. It's clearly targeting young viewers, but the story is surprisingly mature at times, with some deep, heartfelt moments and themes resulting in a story that audiences of all ages can enjoy together. It's a family film in the truest sense. NBA superstar Stephen Curry, a professing Christian, served as a producer for the film. Yes, the story hits most of the expected cliché copyright S of a B-Pro storyline in an NBA 2K video game, but a clear love and understanding of basketball and sports culture radiates from its heart. It's not in the same league as Space Jam. Willie the GOAT can't match Michael Jordan the GOAT, but I can imagine GOAT inspiring young athletes and basketball fans in a similar way. The story itself isn't always as strong as the film's other elements. Several plot developments don't make much sense other than as a means of manufacturing drama, and the villain, a rival player, is too absent to make much impact. There is also a lack of character growth. To my recollection, Willie only misses one shot in the entire film, during a private shoot-around. Even the central tension of being too small to play becomes a non-factor in the games. The lack of any need for internal growth strips the plot of some dramatic impact and sense of forward motion. Once Willie joins the team, the narrative focus largely shifts to Jet, an aging legend seeking an elusive championship. While her story is interesting, it leaves the movie feeling disjointed and unfocused at times. Even so, as a parent of young kids, the theme of relentlessly hanging on to the life lessons you've already been taught rather than failing and needing to relearn them is a welcome change of pace. Not all wisdom must be learned through personal failure. Also, while Willie's own journey lacks adversity, in the spirit of sportsmanship, the film focuses more on the team than the individual. They must all overcome obstacles of pride, lack of confidence, lost sense of purpose, etc. Together to win the championship. The script falters at times, but by the championship match, I was emotionally invested in the ragtag team of animals. In the end, GOAT is a wholesome and enjoyable film for all ages. While animated stories about talking animals aren't novel, nor are conventional underdog stories, GOAT manages to establish a unique identity. At a time when Hollywood is frequently criticized for lacking creative inspiration, many of its best stories are being told through animation. The beautiful animation and the cast of quirky animals may get viewers into the theater, but it's the uplifting story about staying grounded in our upbringing and convictions that make GOAT a true winner. On the surface, profanity, sexual content, violence, etc. language, there are some substitute words like heck, gosh, and scat, as well as several rude words like sucks. There are also some gags that use zoology terms like loca as a playful replacement for profanity. The characters seem to treat it like a cuss word. Violence, none. Sexuality, there is nothing explicit, although there is a repeated gag in which male animals express their admiration for male animal athletes. A female calls out for an athlete to marry her and then a male voice is heard saying, "No, marry me." When a superstar player takes off his outer garments to prepare to play, a starstruck fan mutters, "Take it all off." Whether instances like these represent actual same-sex attraction or merely a humorous man-crush is unclear. There is a reference to an athlete's perfect pecs. Other characters play poker, and money is involved. Willie is a young adult rather than a kid, but he occasionally engages in reckless behavior some parents may feel uncomfortable with their kids mimicking. The movie has a tagline, "You are never too small to dream big." On the surface, it sounds like the sort of just follow your heart cliché copyright animated films have promoted for decades, but GOAT sets itself apart from the typical shallow messaging by focusing on the reason to pursue these dreams. Rather than pushing ahead in the clouds message, the film takes the opposite approach. Fans of the Thorns, the hometown Rollerball team, have a traditional chant, "Roots run deep." Roots run deep. That mantra encapsulates the film's message. Yes, Willie has big dreams, but he pursues them for the right reasons, so to honor his deceased mother and to bring joy to the ordinary people around him. In unique ways, the players on the team must rediscover and affirm their reason for playing. Jesus used a similar metaphor in John 15:5, "I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you stay joined to me, and I stay joined to you, then you will produce lots of fruit." Our purpose is not to chase lofty goals but to stay rooted in Christ. We must grow downward before we can grow upward. While it doesn't touch on any spiritual applications, GOAT provides an opportunity for parents to talk with younger viewers about staying rooted in the right foundation. For following the global success of Pop Demon Hunters, 2025, which is on its way to possibly winning a few Oscars, Sony Pictures Animation is looking to capitalize on its momentum with GOAT 2026. It's the studio's first theatrical release since 2023's Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse, which has also had its highly anticipated sequel, Beyond the Spider-Verse, delayed multiple times. Younger than most of its major competitors, such as Pixar and DreamWorks, Sony Animation wasn't exactly known for original storytelling before Pop Demon Hunters. Aside from the Hotel Transylvania franchise, though original, you can argue it spoofs famous monster iconography. You're only left with outliers like The Mitchells vs. the Machines, 2021, that found success without needing any pre-existing IP. Director Tyree Dillihay, who spent 8 years as a director on Fox's Bob's Burgers, and co-director Adam Rosette, who spent 9 years at DreamWorks Animation, working as a storyboard artist on films like The Wild Robot, 2024, Dog Man, 2025, and more. Lead an incredible animation team for GOAT, not to mention four-time NBA champion Stephen Curry of the Golden State Warriors, who has served as a producer on the project since its early development. With the help of Curry's clout and real-life basketball influence, GOAT has gone from a wildly imaginative concept, inspired by an unpublished book titled Funky Dunks by Chris Tuggis, to one of Sony Pictures Animation's most visually inventive works. However, GOAT is the latest example of how original animation can only go so far off the strengths of innovative visuals alone. At the film's core is an underdog story that has been told time and time again, which isn't inherently a problem when the script feels like it's been shaved down to include as many jokes and familiar tropes as possible in order to appeal to kids of all ages. Though, that can be a little disorienting. Luckily, the voice performances are effortlessly charming, and the narrative does have its finger on the pulse of modern basketball culture. You just wish the movie had tapped into that further rather than being so distracted by kiddie humor. Teenager Will Harris, Caleb McLaughlin, has dreamed of becoming a professional rollerball player his whole life. Specifically, his eyes have always been set on playing for the Thorns, the team from his hometown of Vineland. The one problem is, he's a short boar goat. Set in a colorful world of anthropomorphic animals, GOAT trots across various ecosystems and landscapes via rollerball, with each animal-themed city having its own unique stadium and gimmicks. But the majority of time is spent in Vineland, a thick jungle metropolis filled with, as the name suggests, vibrant green trees and vines. The city is largely undervalued, in part because the Thorns are the absolute worst team in the rollerball league. When Will goes viral after challenging main attraction, Aaron Pierre, a large Andalusian horse who is the star player of the Magma and the league's MVP, at a local showdown, he gets the opportunity of a lifetime to join the Thorns as their sixth player. It's admittedly more of a marketing tactic devised by the team's owner, the warthog Flo Everson, Jennifer Lewis. This is to the dismay of the Thorns' own all-star, Jet Fillmore, Gabrielle Union, who's seen better days. A sleek Black Panther, Jet can be best described as LeBron James if he had stayed in Cleveland and never won a single NBA championship. In other words, she's washed. Jet is the top-scoring player in the league and Will's lifelong idol. Yet, she's never brought a claw championship home to Vineland. Thus, the field is set for her insecurities to clash with Will's inclusion on the team, as there can only be one true GOAT. However, the talented rookie's small size could be the key to uniting the Thorns, both on and off the court. Now, on its own, this story is not very game-changing, but in the zany world of anthropomorphic animals, it can be just enough to keep viewers engaged for an hour and 40 minutes. Plus, for the basketball fanatics, it's superior to Space Jam in how it captures the true spirit of the sport. Utilizing a similar method to how the Spider-Verse films and Pop Demon Hunters blend 3D and 2D animation, GOAT is a supreme visual feast. 3D character models, accented with specific hand-drawn textures, are set against beautifully painted 2D backdrops. These minimalist yet gorgeous backgrounds further highlight each character's animalistic traits, each bringing a different comedic flavor. Aside from Will and Jet, the Vineland-Thorns have Lenny Williamson, Stephen Curry himself, a stylish giraffe with a stunted rap career, Olivia Burke, Nicola Coughlan, a timid ostrich with a flightless bird complex, Archie Everhart, David Harbour, a single-father Indian rhinoceros who's worn out by his two young twin daughters, and Modo Olakenko, Nick Kroll, a weird and slimy Komodo dragon. Impressively, Goat manages to flesh out each Vineland-Thorns player enough to make them feel like a real team, including their old coach, Dennis Cooper, Patton Oswalt, a funny-looking proboscis monkey. Yet, the script keeps packing in more until the third act. Whether it's a new in-universe animal quirk or a significant subplot, it often seems like it's speed-running a classic underdog story, zipping through one scene to the next to avoid losing the audience's attention. All the familiar beats are here and still work to a degree, but at the cost of letting the plot unfold naturally or letting most of its comedy speak for itself rather than force-feeding an animal joke. Say what you will about Disney's Zootopia franchise, but the rate at which those movies spit out witty animal puns and introduce, and maintain, new elements to its universe is unmatched. The animal-themed universe of Goat, on the other hand, often feels like it has no rhyme or reason to its crazy antics. Sometimes, things simply happen because the stakes need to be raised. Even if it is weighed down by safe choices, Goat does find something authentic to say about how sports enable teamwork and unity throughout a community. Roots run deep as the Vineland-Thorns team chant, and the meaning behind that expression is what lingers the most long after the credits roll. Caleb McLaughlin, Stranger Things, shines in Sony Pictures Animation's Goat, showcasing his voice acting chops in a sweet and sincere performance. It may not be the best in Sony Animation's portfolio, but it continues to prove that the studio has a vast technological and creative edge over its main competitors. The overarching theme of how basketball and community are intrinsically linked permeates the visual storytelling, especially in the modern digital age of social media. In any other animated film, using social media as a visual tool, especially with animal puns, would be tacky. Not in Goat. Here, it's heartfelt and inspired. Next time, that kind of creativity just needs to extend into all aspects of the script. Release date, February 13, 2026. Directed by Tyree, Dillihay, Adam Rosette. Screenplay by Aaron Buxbaum, Teddy Riley. Story by Nicholas Curcio, Peter Chiarelli. Based on Funky Dunks by Chris Tugas. Produced by Stephen Curry, Michelle Ramo-Kayate, Eric Payton, Adam Rosenberg, Rodney Rothman. Executive producers, Rick Michel, Fonda Snyder. Main cast, Caleb McLaughlin, Gabrielle Union, Stephen Curry, Nicola Coughlan, Nick Kroll, David Harbour, Jennifer Lewis, Aaron Pierre, Patton Oswalt, Eduardo Franco, Sherry Cola, Jennifer Hudson, Wayne Knight, Jelly Roll, Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, Aisha Curry, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Love, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, Andre Iguodala, Joe LaPuma, Van, Adam Pally. Cinematographer, John Clark. Composer, Chris Bowers. Editor, Clara Knight. Production companies, Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures Animation. Distributor, Sony Pictures Releasing. Runtime, 100 minutes. Rated PG-5. Whenever a new project from Sony Pictures Animation hits theaters, I'll admit my heart rate pricks up just a bit. Whether it's the visual revolution started by the Spider-Verse franchise or the emotionally resonant storytelling in the Mitchells vs. the Machines, my expectations for any animation from the studio have shifted from simply watching a movie to experiencing a brand new visual language. Even though the sport at the center of this story isn't exactly a personal favorite, the involvement of producers who aren't afraid to take risks and the curiosity of seeing how a legend like Stephen Curry, underrated, would fare in this new arena, even if mostly behind the scenes, kept me intrigued for Goat. The story transports us to Vineland, a place where roarball is the law of the land and giants are the only legitimate kings. Directed by Tyree Dillihay, Bob's Burgers, and written by Aaron Buxbaum, The Lego Ninjago Movie, and Teddy Riley. Trolls, The film features the voices of Caleb McLaughlin, Stranger Things, as Will and Gabrielle Union, Bring It On, as the iconic Jet Fillmore. Will is a small goat working as a coffee runner, spending his days dreaming of the success of his idol, Jet, the star of The Thorns, who carries the heavy burden of a team in a total freefall. When a video of Will embarrassing the arrogant main attraction, Aaron Pierre, Rebel Ridge, goes viral, he's recruited for the team, thrusting him into a world of fierce competition where his small stature is viewed as an unacceptable anomaly. GOAT flows through a pertinent analysis of what actually constitutes greatness in an environment that prioritizes raw, physical power. The script doesn't just show Will's unlikely rise to the top, it dissects the myth of the natural athlete versus the reality of resilient persistence. It's fascinating to watch how the movie treats physical limitations not as an insurmountable burden, but as a strategic opportunity to rewrite the rules of the game. Will understands that he doesn't need to get bigger to win, he just needs to focus on his unique attributes and apply them on the court against the predictable weaknesses of others. This message of radical self-acceptance is what separates the film from more generic sports productions. The beating heart of the movie lies in the complex relationships between Will and Jet. McLaughlin's vocal performance conveys a genuine and contagious exuberance, but it's in Union's work that I found the layers of greatest dramatic weight. Jet isn't the perfect mentor the audience might expect. She's a cynical, defensive figure, visibly worn down by years of losing and the crushing isolation that comes with being a GOAT. One of the most human moments in GOAT happens in a local diner, where fans share personal memories and promises of victory for the community of Vineland. Jet's arc, which evolves from a selfish, scared individualist to a leader capable of sacrificing herself for the collective, effectively complements Will's journey of growth. However, it's impossible to ignore that when it comes to its fundamental structure, GOAT treads on very familiar ground. At times, I felt like I was anticipating every conflict and every resolution with almost mathematical precision. From the inevitable scene where the team's cohesion falls apart due to Jet's momentary ego to the way the final play of the deciding game is executed, the film follows rhythmic beats everyone has seen in countless other genre flicks. This narrative predictability prevents the story from surprising the viewers as much as its innovative visual aesthetic. Visually, though, GOAT is an absolute triumph that largely compensates for these narrative gaps. The use of a rougher, scribbled art style and impact frames during the games gives the rortball sequences a brutal kinetic energy. The arena designs are brilliantly creative, and I was especially impressed with the way the home field advantage is transformed into something that actually affects the game through dynamic physical changes in the court. It's an animation that pulses with life and color, turning every match into a spectacle of lighter and movement. Yet, that same energy seems to lose some steam when GOAT tries to lean on more childish humor. Certain easy jokes and simplistic animal puns take away some of the necessary gravity during moments when Will is facing his deepest internal insecurities. That being said, the presence of supporting characters like Archie, David Harbour, Black Widow, a rhino who's a single father to twins, or Carol, Aisha Curry, Irish Wish, the llama owner of the diner where Will used to work, helps fill out the world of Vineland. These figures provide an important communal texture that justifies Will's deep desire to save the team and his city's identity. The climax is an exercise in pure adrenaline, where several events before and during the final game encapsulate the central message of GOAT. It's not just about scoring the final point or hoisting a trophy, it's about proving that teamwork, solidarity, and mutual trust can topple the status quo represented by the arrogance of Maine's team. The resolution is the expected ending, but it's no less satisfying from an emotional standpoint. Final thoughts on GOAT. GOAT doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it manages to soar through vibrant technical execution and a palpable emotional chemistry between its leads. It's a film that shines brightest when it focuses on Will's personal growth and Jet's necessary redemption, even when it stumbles over expository dialogue or a predictability that cools the impact of certain twists. It's an inspiring tribute to all those who daydream in small contexts, reminding us that true greatness isn't measured by someone's height, but by the indomitable courage of those who refuse to accept the limits others have placed upon them. Rating: B. GOAT is now playing in theaters. Learn more about the film, including how to buy tickets, at the official website for the title. You might also like a Broken Bar 6 whenever a new project from Sony Pictures Animation hits theaters. I'll admit my heart rate pricks up just a bit. Whether it's the visual revolution started by the Spider-Verse franchise or the emotionally resonant storytelling in the Mitchells vs. the Machines, my expectations for any animation from the studio have shifted from simply watching a movie to experiencing a brand new visual language. Even though the sport at the center of this story isn't exactly a personal favorite, the involvement of producers who aren't afraid to take risks and the curiosity of seeing how a legend like Stephen Curry, underrated, would fare in this new arena, even if mostly behind the scenes, kept me intrigued for GOAT. The story transports us to Vineland, a place where rollerball is the law of the land and giants are the only legitimate kings. Directed by Tyree, Bob's Burgers, and written by Aaron Buxbaum, the Lego Ninjago movie, and Teddy Riley. Trolls. The film features the voices of Caleb McLaughlin, Stranger Things, as Will and Gabrielle Union, Bring It On, as the iconic Jet Fillmore. Will is a small goat working as a coffee runner, spending his days dreaming of the success of his idol, Jet, the star of The Thorns, who carries the heavy burden of a team in a total freefall. When a video of Will embarrassing the arrogant main attraction, Aaron Pierre, Rebel Ridge, goes viral, he's recruited for the team, thrusting him into a world of fierce competition where his small stature is viewed as an unacceptable anomaly. GOAT flows through a pertinent analysis of what actually constitutes greatness in an environment that prioritizes raw, physical power. The script doesn't just show Will's unlikely rise to the top, it dissects the myth of the natural athlete versus the reality of resilient persistence. It's fascinating to watch how the movie treats physical limitations not as an insurmountable burden, but as a strategic opportunity to rewrite the rules of the game. Will understands that he doesn't need to get bigger to win, he just needs to focus on his unique attributes and apply them on the court against the predictable weaknesses of others. This message of radical self-acceptance is what separates the film from more generic sports productions. The beating heart of the movie lies in the complex relationships between Will and Jet. McLaughlin's vocal performance conveys a genuine and contagious exuberance, but it's in Union's work that I found the layers of greatest dramatic weight. Jet isn't the perfect mentor the audience might expect. She's a cynical, defensive figure, visibly worn down by years of losing and the crushing isolation that comes with being a GOAT. One of the most human moments in GOAT happens in a local diner, where fans share personal memories and promises of victory for the community of Vineland. Jet's arc, which evolves from a selfish, scared individualist to a leader capable of sacrificing herself for the collective, effectively complements Will's journey of growth. However, it's impossible to ignore that when it comes to its fundamental structure, GOAT treads on very familiar ground. At times, I felt like I was anticipating every conflict and every resolution with almost mathematical precision. From the inevitable scene where the team's cohesion falls apart due to Jet's momentary ego to the way the final play of the deciding game is executed, the film follows rhythmic beats everyone has seen in countless other genre flicks. This narrative predictability prevents the story from surprising the viewers as much as its innovative visual aesthetic. Visually, though, GOAT is an absolute triumph that largely compensates for these narrative gaps. The use of a rougher, scribbled art style and impact frames during the games gives the rollerball sequences a brutal kinetic energy. The arena designs are brilliantly creative, and I was especially impressed with the way the home field advantage is transformed into something that actually affects the game through dynamic physical changes in the court. It's an animation that pulses with life and color, turning every match into a spectacle of lighter and movement. Yet, that same energy seems to lose some steam when GOAT tries to lean on more childish humor. Certain easy jokes and simplistic animal puns take away some of the necessary gravity during moments when Will is facing his deepest internal insecurities. That being said, the presence of supporting characters like Archie, David Harbour, Black Widow, a rhino who's a single father to twins, or Carol, Aisha Curry, Irish Wish, the llama owner of the diner where Will used to work, helps fill out the world of Vineland. These figures provide an important communal texture that justifies Will's deep desire to save the team and his city's identity. The climax is an exercise in pure adrenaline, where several events before and during the final game encapsulate the central message of GOAT. It's not just about scoring the final point or hoisting a trophy, it's about proving that teamwork, solidarity, and mutual trust can topple the status quo represented by the arrogance of Maine's team. The resolution is the expected ending, but it's no less satisfying from an emotional standpoint. Final thoughts on GOAT. GOAT doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it manages to soar through vibrant technical execution and a palpable emotional chemistry between its leads. It's a film that shines brightest when it focuses on Will's personal growth and Jet's necessary redemption, even when it stumbles over expository dialogue or a predictability that cools the impact of certain